Dorja's Armory. This is Captain Dorja, and here we can see in the garage the M4 Easy 8 Fury Edition. Oh yeah. Guys, Fury is out in the United States, and I went and saw it yesterday, and I just had to say that movie was cool. Yeah, movie was pretty cool. So if you're like me, if you enjoy tank collection, which I definitely enjoy, and you want to pick this thing up, it's available. It's available on the North American server right now. Anyway, I don't know if it's available on the EU server yet, but I just wanted to take a look at this. At this Fury Sherman, see what this thing's all about, and give you guys a little bit of views of this thing in action. Now, this is going to be this is going to be a pretty detailed thing here. This tank's only going to be available for about 2 months, and there's probably going to be a lot of interest in it, and so I want to get something out, and I want to really kind of try and cover this thing pretty well. So this one's probably going to be a pretty long one, a lot of theory crafting, and then we're going to get some good battles. We're going to compare this sucker, we're going to compare the Fury Sherman to the most obvious thing to compare it to, the Easy 8, but we're also going to compare it to the Cromwell. And we're going to compare to the Cromwell because, in my opinion, when the Cromwell came out, it kind of replaced the Easy 8 in the role that the Easy 8 used to fill, as the sort of kind of the champion of the mid-tier, high-speed, high DPM medium tank. Just about anything that an Easy 8 can do, a Cromwell can do better, or at least just as good. So I think the Cromwell to Easy 8 comparison is a pretty obvious one, and since the Fury is an Easy 8, it is worth comparing the Cromwell to the Fury Sherman. Now, I will say this right away. The Fury Sherman is more than just a reskinned Easy 8. It definitely is a reskin, but it's more than just a reskin. So we're going to take a look at some of the differences real quick. Well, it's not going to be that quick. We're going to take a look at some of the differences, and then we're going to I got some replays for this, and this should be pretty interesting. So first, I just want to run down the stats of vehicles in the garage here. We'll start with the Fury. The Fury Sherman, 750 hit points, weighs about 35 tons, with my current setup 34.89. It's got a 500 horsepower engine, top speed of 41.8 kilometers per hour, 44 degree per second traverse speed, hull armor, 63 millimeters at the front, 38 on the sides and rear, and turret armor 63 millimeters all the way around. Now for the main gun on this tank, you have the 76 millimeter M1A2, very, very familiar gun to American tank drivers. It's the gun of the M4 Easy 8. It's the top 76 millimeter gun on the M6 Heavy that you used to unlock the 90 millimeter. The M1A2 is the top gun on the Wolverine tank destroyer at tier 5. It's the gun you use to unlock the 90 on the Hellcat and the Jackson. I mean, some people use it on the M4E2 Jumbo Sherman. I personally like the stronger turret with the M1A1, but to each his own. This is a gun that we're pretty familiar with, but we're still going to compare it to the Cromwell's gun, the 75 millimeter Vickers HV. So we're going to kind of gloss over that real quick for right now. Turret traverse speed, 38 degrees per second, and the base view range of 370. Now, I didn't have enough money when I got this tank to kit it out exactly the way I wanted. I would put a vertical stabilizer in this slot above binocular telescopes, but I don't have enough money for that. I just picked up an Object 416. I'm trying to get the 416 kitted out the way that I want it. So my money's been going towards that, not towards the Fury. So right now I'm running binoculars. But I don't think binoculars is necessarily a bad choice. I just think a vertical stabilizer would be a better choice. But for what it's worth, with my binos up, my view range is 472, which is pretty freaking good. I will point out, since this is a premium tank, the crew that I have in it except for the radio man, is the crew from my M48 Patton. So they're a very, very high skilled crew. First Lieutenant O'Hogan, I've had him since the M4 Sherman, all the way up since Tier 5. So he's got quite a bit of crew skills on him. Alright, so we're going to hop over to the Easy 8 here real quick. 750 hit points, that's the same. 30.67 tons, so the Easy 8 is a good almost 5 tons lighter, and it has a 20 additional horsepower. Top speed of 48 kilometers per hour. That gives the Easy 8 about 6 kilometers per hour more speed than the Fury, but it's got a lower traverse speed of only 40 degrees per second. Hull armor, same 63, 38, 38, but the front of the turret is 76 millimeters. Now I will say that I was looking in Tank Inspector earlier at the armor models, and the front of the turret only includes this flat portion right here. All of this is definitely side, and since on the Fury it's 63 all the way around, if you're getting hit like here in the front of your turret, the Fury's turret is going to be a little bit stronger, but if you get hit anywhere else in the front of the turret, like here, the Fury's turret is weaker. But it's not that much stronger or weaker regardless, so it's probably not going to make much of a difference. But, it is a difference, and so I'm going to mention it. Turret traverse speed 39, that's pretty good. Same base view range 370, that's pretty decent. Not worried about signal range, we got plenty of that. Worth noting, my Easy 8 crew is pretty bad. They don't even have 100% on their first skill. And lastly, we'll take a quick look at the Cromwell. Cromwell, 750 hit points, same as the rest. Far and away the lightest of the bunch at 28.5 tons, with the most horsepower, 650. So we know the Cromwell has got the best power to weight ratio. We also know it's got the highest top speed, 64 kph. It's about 12 kph faster than the Fury, and about 6 faster than the Easy 8. It also has the worst traverse speed of 36 degrees per second. Turning is definitely not the strong suit of the Cromwell, and it also is not that well armored. 64 at the front hull, which technically is better, but since it's a vertically stepped plate, in effect it's not as strong, but it doesn't matter. Neither Easy 8s and Cromwells have virtually no armor, so I'm not too worried about it. Cromwell's side, 32 at the rear. The turret, 76 at the front, but it is very flat with no mantlet. 63 at the sides and 57 at the rear. Essentially, the Cromwell turret has no armor whatsoever. The Fury turret is essentially very badly armored, but against a low caliber tank, if they hit your mantlet, you might get a bounce. In the Easy 8, it's the same thing. Low tier tank, if they hit your mantlet, you might get a bounce. Otherwise, it's all miracle bounces with all three of these tanks. Turret traverse speed on the Cromwell, 48. That's definitely real good and better than the other two. But the base view range of 360 is actually slightly worse. So yeah, I didn't actually realize that. The base view range on the Cromwell, 10 meters less. So that's kind of interesting. Now another thing about the Cromwell that is a significant difference is the Cromwell cannot mount a vertical stabilizer, whereas the Fury Sherman and the Sherman Easy 8 can, and that's a big difference. You could go for a gun laying drive to try and get some of the effect of a vertical stabilizer, but I'm a fan of the binocular setup to try and give you the ability to act as a medium scout. You can use your mobility, and then you pop your binoculars once you get there. Gives you a little bit of a multi-role ability. So I personally opt for the binoculars on the Cromwell. So with that kind of quick look at the in-garage stats, I want to look at some of the more detailed soft stats with some Tank Inspector stuff that I got. I tried to use Tank Compare because it's just so much easier, but Tank Compare doesn't have the Fury Sherman in it yet, which is not a big deal. I didn't really expect it to, but it's just that Tank Inspector is not laid out quite as user-friendly, in my opinion, for this sort of thing, so I would have preferred to use 10 compare, but you can only do, you can only do what you can do. Okay, so we got the Cromwell, got the Easy 8, and we got the Fury Sherman. And since the Easy 8 and the Fury have the same gun with, like, I've looked at this already, their gun stats are the same. When it comes to comparing guns, I'm just going to pop between the Cromwell and the Easy 8 since I screenshotted them next to each other. Righto. Forging on to the gun stats. The Easy 8 and the Fury, they don't have quite as good penetration or damage with the M1A2, with only 128 pen and 115 damage per shot. So the Cromwell's Vickers HV edges them out on penetration and alpha damage. The penetration is definitely the best part of that. 135 isn't that much better than 115, but 145 pen is pretty nice. Damage per minute, they both come in very, very close to the 2500 mark, with the Cromwell at 2461 in my current setup, and the Easy 8 and the Fury Sherman at 2477. I will note that to get my tank inspector numbers, I did use a vertical stabilizer on the Fury Sherman, even though I've been playing it without, because I did that because I would have put a vertical stabilizer on the Fury if I had enough money. I also did this using crews that are only at 100%, no additional skills. And I did that just because I wanted it to be a baseline that was all, fair and equitable and whatnot, not comparing, instead of comparing an Easy 8 with no crew skills, a Cromwell with 1 crew skill, against a Fury with 3 crew skills. So, yeah. So damage per minute, they're all pretty similar on that. Reload time, the Cromwell doesn't reload as fast, and its rate of fire is not quite as good, but the damage per minute output is essentially the same, and the rate of fire is only a hair off, with a reload of about half a second longer, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Gun caliber, don't care. One thing that is pretty interesting is the shell velocity. On the Cromwell, 785, whereas on the Fury and the Easy 8, it's 792. Now that's almost the same, but I do have to say that in game, it really does not feel the same. If I had to have guessed, I would have guessed that the 76mm gun on the American tanks has a lower muzzle velocity. It feels like you have to lead targets a lot more. It feels like your shells really loop, and it feels like it just doesn't feel as easy to aim as the Cromwell's gun. So that little tidbit right there caught me off guard. Excuse me. Accuracy and aiming time, however, we'll take a look at that real quick. The accuracy on the Easy 8, 0.375. And we can see that's the same for the Fury because they have the same gun. And the aim times are also the same, 2.16. The Cromwell gun, 0.338, which is quite a bit more accurate than 0.375. That's what, yeah, 0.375. Just had to make sure that I'm not an idiot sometimes. But the aim time, 2.16, that's identical for the two. And that's kind of interesting as well, considering that the Easy 8 and the Fury both have vertical stabilizers, which really increase aiming time, or decrease aiming time. So that just goes to show just how quickly the Cromwell gun aims. Another thing to point out, the aiming circle spread on the Cromwell is worse in every category than on the Easy 8 and on the Fury. But since they have the same aiming time, and since the Cromwell's got another half a second to lay the gun, it doesn't really make that much difference, if you ask me. You notice it, but it doesn't like ruin the Cromwell. It just keeps it from being quite as overpowered as it possibly could be. Another thing worth pointing out, elevation and depression. 15 elevation and 8 depression on the Cromwell. The Easy 8, way better in both, 25 degrees up and 12 degrees down, which is really nice. 12 degrees of depression is great. The Fury can't quite match it, it only has 10. But 10 degrees of depression, still really nice. Not worried about that. Okay, so mobility. And we know the Fury's mobility basic stats are going to be the worst. It has the lowest horsepower to ton rate of 14.3. The Easy 8 solidly in the middle with just about 17. And the Cromwell 22.87, just really high up there. The Cromwell also has the highest top speed and the highest reversing speed. Now, terrain resistance. Because I'm an idiot, I had to look this up because I couldn't remember if lower was better or higher was better. So, real quick, the Fury has a 0.84, 0.94. I'm gonna round it, and 1.4. So we can see that the Fury actually has better terrain resistances than the standard Easy 8. So the Fury is going to be a little bit more. It's not going to lose as much of its maneuverability when you go off-road as the standard Easy 8, and that is nice because you're already have lower acceleration because of your less power to weight, and you also have lower top speed. So your maneuverability is not going to be as degraded by going off-road. And if we look at the Cromwell, everything but on soft terrain, the Cromwell has the same ground resistances as the Fury. So until you get into like a swamp, the Cromwell is not going to actually lose as much of its mobility compared to the Easy 8. So that's definitely an interesting little bit to look at. Battle rating and all that crap, not really that much to say. The Fury may be a premium, but it still gets standard matchmaking. One thing, scoutability, which will show camo values, is definitely worth taking a look at. 14.6% stationary value on the Cromwell, which is better than the 12.6 of the Easy 8. And the Fury apparently doesn't have camo values. I'm just going to pretend that they're the same as the Easy 8, since apparently even Tank Inspector doesn't know. So you've got the Easy 8, which, while camouflaged, is not, or while stationary, is not as camouflaged as a Cromwell. And with a 9.4% moving, again, Cromwell's camo rating on the move is better. And camo rates while firing, again, the Cromwells are higher. So that's kind of interesting to note. The Cromwell is more stealthy, and I would have to guess that is coming mostly from the differences in height. Now, we got the Cromwell right here. We'll put it straight side on. Oh, look at that billboard, all the product placement. The Easy 8, quite a bit taller. And the Fury is actually even a little bit taller than the Easy 8. Not sure why, but it is. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting that the Cromwell's camo values are just that much nicer. So, we've had our in-depth look here at the Fury, at the Easy 8, and at the Cromwell, and I think that's enough BSing about in the garage. I think it's time to shoot up some enemies and see what this sucker can do. So, guys, we're gonna jump into battle. I got 3 battles. I got 3 battles to take a look at, and well, we'll see what we can get done. So let's kill some stuff. All right, guys. So we are loading into battle with the Fury Sherman. Excuse me. You can see we're here on a hidden village, and we are very, very top tier. There's only 2 tier 6s per team. My team has my Fury and an M44 artillery. The enemy team has an ARL V39 and a Jumbo Sherman. After that, we have several tier 5s on the enemy team, including 3 enemy artillery and lots of tier 4s. 1, 2, 3, 6 tier 4s. So this is the best matchmaking you could possibly get with the Fury Sherman. You know, this thing will see tier 8s, and when it does, it's a slower Easy 8. So it's not exactly the best tank ever in a tier 8 match. So I want to play the flanking tank here. I may not be quite as fast as I normally would be in an Easy 8, but I am still an Easy 8. So we're going to play flanker. Our team's got a KV-220 on it, so I'm not too worried about the kind of heavy alley. That KV-220 is a beast at just taking damage and just rocking tier 5s and tier 4s. So I think I should be fine to come down here and, do my thing. And I'm not alone, but I would definitely like a bit of backup from those guys up on the hill there. But we do have an ELC AMX down near us and an M5 Stewart. So it's not all bad news. I'm going to go into fixed camera mode here because I do get caught with my pants down a little bit, and I kind of want to make sure that you all see just me getting derped. So we're coming around the corner. You can see we're not really moving that slowly, but we're definitely not moving that quickly. I poke around to see if I can see this Chi-He, and I can't. And it's only when I get shot that I notice the enemy. I get extremely lucky there, my tracks ate both of those shots. Gonna quickly pause right here. This is definitely not ideal because pretty soon another guy's gonna join the fight, and I'm basically gonna be in a 1 against 5. He's already in the fight. It's 1 against 5 right here. But for a 1 against 5, it's a pretty favorable scenario. The enemy's attacking me with a Panzer III, a Panzer IV-D, and a Chi-He, which is a Tier 4, I think it's called the Chi-He, Tier 4 Japanese tank? Maybe it's a Chinese tank? I can't remember. Tier 4 Japanese, I think. For like heavy firepower, they've got a T1 Heavy and a T-34. Now, if the Fury Sherman is just real good at one thing, it's ripping up tier 4s. You've got the pen to pen them everywhere all the time. You've got the damage per minute to just melt their HP. You've got the health to absorb their fire. And even though the Fury's alpha is only 115, against tanks like this, 115 alpha is enough to, 2 or 3 shot. So with a little bit of help from our ELC, we make short work of the Panzer III and the Chi-He. Now I'm just going to come after this Panzer IV-D. I just want to get him dead ASAFP so that I can help out our my ELC over here. ELC's dispatched the enemy T-34. Now we've got the T1 Heavy between a rock and a hard place. We're just going to pump fire into him. Now, while I was sitting here, I knew that I was going to be very, very vulnerable to artillery, and I did just lose 150 health to the enemy guerrilla, which is not ideal. But all things considered, I thought just focusing up on this T1 Heavy and just killing him was more important than preserving all of my health against the guerrilla. So, I risked it. I fed that guerrilla about 300 damage, a little bit more than that. But I really don't care. You can see that our team is crushing the enemy on pretty much all fronts. The ELC, Capital Fellow in that ELC, he says nice job, and I make sure to thank him for his good teamwork, because he did have good teamwork. He took out that T-34, we worked together nice to smoke that T1 Heavy, and the ELC put one in against those other guys, some of those tier 4s. We spot the enemy ARL, we trade blows, he smokes me and I damage his track. So I decide to back off behind the hill and pour fire into the enemy guerrilla. So there we go, 5 kills, vengeance on the enemy artillery. And at this point, I really thought I could take this house down in like 3 shots and kill that SE-122A, but the 76mm M1A2, definitely not the best anti-structure weapon out there. I fire a lot of shots into that building and do a whole lot of nothing. And you can see the kind of long aiming time on that gun without the vertical stabilizer. I wasn't able to lay the gun fast enough to get damage in on that ARL V39. And at this point, I've got really low health, and everyone on the enemy team is about to be dead. So even though I was close to getting the top gun, I'm not too worried about it. I'll let the ELC get his dues. And like a boss. There we go. Battle is over. That was a fun battle. Nice little victory in the Fury. Take a quick look at post-battle results, although I'm honestly not too worried about post-battles for this. That was the first win of the day, so for the double we got 34-16 experience. We did a pretty decent. If you sort by damage, top damage on our team, 1,662 damage, 5 kills. ELC down here, good team play from him. Hats off to you, good sir. Good work by the KV-220. Beautiful matchup for him. He did really well. Second on experience after the KV-220. Again, not really that worried about it. Kind of the only thing I'm really too concerned about is, since this tank is a premium tank, profits. We made 41,000 profit on that. That's pretty good profit margin. If we'd had a standard account, we still would have made 25,000. And we didn't fire any premium ammo because we didn't face any hard targets, so that's definitely nice. Because if you get this thing into a tier 8 battle or even a tier 7 battle, you're probably going to end up firing quite a bit more premium ammo, and that'll cut into your profit margin. But still, 41,000, not bad profit at all. Alright, so round 2 in the Fury. We're loading in Arctic region. Now you can see right here, matchmaking not as favorable. It's still not real bad, but it definitely ain't as good. The enemy team have 3 tier 7 tanks, a Tiger, an AT-7, and a Jagdpanther. Our team has 2 tier 7 tanks and an artillery. We have a Tiger P, a T-25-2, and a GW Panther. So that's not exactly ideal. Now for the rest of the teams, both teams have a pair of tier 5s and all the rest tier 6s. So the matchmaking's still not too bad. The enemy tier 6s, nothing particularly well armored. The KV-85 and the KV-2, probably the best armored tier 6s on their team. And the Tiger, or the AT-7, definitely the best armored enemy tank. The Tiger's very dangerous because of his high rate of fire, and against my 750 health, his high alpha damage, and his massive health pool. And the Jagdpanther with that gun that'll shave off half my health. Definitely don't want to be screwing with any of their tier 7s. So I'm going to come north. I don't care that 99% of the time on this map everyone fights in the south. It's, in my opinion, always a stupid move. So I don't fight in the south on this map, ever. I fight in the north. And we're pretty alone in the north up here. We got the MT-25 scouting, me backing him up, and a T-25-2 camping in a odd location. So I'm letting the MT-25 know that I'll back him up, but I'm going to play real defensive, because we're pretty much alone. Now I do see a Fury Sherman and an EZ-8 moving up on the map, so that's kind of nice. Also a T-50, so again, that's kind of nice. But until those guys actually get here, defense is the name of the game for me. I'm going to go back into fixed camera mode. Alright, so our EZ-8 and our T-50 are moving up. The MT-25 hasn't spotted anything yet. And the Fury Sherman behind me is moving into position as well, so I decide that I should probably move up, try to be able to poke around the hill. Now, the enemy team just obliterated 2 of our tanks with artillery in the south. Gee whiz, no one would have ever guessed that would happen. That south is a death trap to artillery. If you go around the corner, the enemy arty will smoke you. And if you don't go around the corner, the enemy usually won't push into you, so you don't do anything. It's a really stupid position. I mean, I don't call it Idiot's Corner for nothing. Anyway, I digress. So I've come to this position because if the T-50 can spot targets, or the MT-25, if either one of them can spot targets down here, I can engage them from a double bush location and they will never spot me. So we can see the KV-85. We're able to hit his front plate, which is weak. and our high rate of fire and damage per minute quickly take off about half of his health. We got him tracked. Unfortunately, we tracked him at a nice angle to make him bounce. So I fire a blind one. Then I notice these guys on the map, and I think that I should come to try and help. So I'm going to try and help those guys in the center. Our T-50's still pushing around on that KV-85, which is a pretty ballsy move, but whatever. As you can see, the mobility on the Fury Sherman's not bad, but it's definitely not great. Now this was frustrating. Back of a Jagdpanzer IV, critical hit for no damage. That was pretty frustrating. And then, to add salt to the wound, back of a Cromwell, critical hit for no damage. Smacked him straight in the rear of his engine compartment and didn't do anything. We got one on him there, maybe another one with the blind shot. I don't think we hit with the blind shot. Really leading our shots, trying to take into account the looping flight of the shell, but we still miss. Now, right here, that Tiger, ooh, he just caught me at unawares. You can see that at the angle, I bounce off him. I fire again and miss. I fire again and bounce. Put one into his lower plate and pull back. Using the quick reload to go 3 for 1 against that Tiger. That's the idea anyway. Looks like our team is winning, but it's still a pretty close match. Anybody's game. Tiger gives me his side. I somehow managed to bounce. Now at this point I didn't notice my loader was dead, so I'm still trying to go 3 for 1 with this Tiger. And with a dead loader, the Tiger actually reloads faster than an Easy 8. I still haven't noticed my loader. Accidentally shoot the enemy Easy 8 in the back of the head. Just now noticed my dead loader, medkit him, and apologize to the friendly Easy 8 for team damaging him. And I get back in the fight against this Tiger. We're able to put some good damage onto that Tiger. Great move by the Easy 8. That was he saved me right there, and I repaid him by accidentally shooting him in the back. That enemy Hellcat tries to dive bomb the Easy 8, fails. I see those guys behind me, and I run into the dip for cover and to bring them into crossfire of my friendlies. Somehow I miss that shot, and then I miss that shot as well, and the freaking Hellcat, he takes me out. But now he's trading blows with a high health Easy 8 on our team. And, with a predictable result, a high health Easy 8 engaging a low health Hellcat in a damage per minute battle. No way the Hellcat is going to win that. The Easy 8 and the GW Panther combine their powers to kill that KV-85 and also to shave off half the HP of the friendly Easy 8. I felt really bad for this friendly Easy 8 driver. He played a really good game. He played a really good game, and he saved my bacon, and then he kind of avenged my bacon when I died. And I think every point of damage this guy's taken so far in this game has been team damage. So that's a little unfortunate for him. I make sure to apologize to this guy in chat a couple of times just to be a nice guy, but that's pretty much it. The battle is done. Our team's managed to win pretty convincingly. Well, not pretty convincingly. It's 3 tanks left against an artillery, but we won. We won in the south, we won in the north, we won in the center. We just beat them everywhere. It was nice. So yeah, just looking for that artillery. I'm pretty sure our 3601H is about to find him. Yep, there he is. And hey, look, even after I get blown up and all the little parts fall off my tank, my barrel's still nice and painted. There we go. That's the end of the battle. GG. So, post-battle results, again, not super worried about the post-battles. No double this time. We got 1388 experience. Not bad. 35, or about 35,000 credits. Again, not too bad. I am curious to see if I did any interesting crits to those guys that I shot in the back. So you can see the Cromwell. I only hit him with that one, or I only pinned him with that one shell. My blind shot missed, and my shot straight into the center back of the engine deck of a Cromwell that didn't bounce. That shot didn't bounce. It was a critical hit for no damage. Did nothing. So that's just clap hands for Wargaming. That was freaking sweet. And my shot into the back of the Jagdpanzer IV, I'm guessing that did tracking damage. Oddly enough, the Quickie Baby Replays website is actually better than Watt Replays, which is Wargaming's official one for listing things like crits. The official Wargaming one just says the number. The Quickie Baby Replays site actually tells you what they were. Real quick in the detailed report there, you can see that Easy 8 on our team had a great game, 2 kills, 1800 damage, 975 experience, top EXP on the team and top damage. Me with 1300 damage and a kill, second on damage, and also I think second on experience, third on experience after the 3601. Ooh, 2 battle heroes, nice job for him. And real quick, we got 26,000 profit on that. Almost no fine for damaging allies. I'm really surprised. That fine would usually have been like 3,000 credits. So I'm not sure why it was only 190. Oh, it was... I think it's supposed to say 2,000, but it says 190 and a half. I don't know what to think about that. But anyway, premium tank, nice profit. 26,000 profit ain't too bad for a tier 6 non-preferential matchmaking premium tank. So we'll take a look at one more battle, and then that's going to be that. So we're going to jump into our last battle. It's an airfield battle, and it was a little bit of a different story than this match. Alright guys, we're loading into battle on airfield. Again, we're in the Fury Sherman. Again, not the best matchmaking we could get, but it's far from the worst. I played about 7 or 8 games in the Fury this morning, and I actually didn't get a single tier 8 match with this tank. But last night when I was playing my 12244, played like 15 battles in a row in the 12244, we were getting tier 8 battles a lot, and there were plenty of Fury Shermans in those tier 8 matches. So you'll see tier 8 with this thing. I think I'm just sort of still in the matchmaker's, grace period, where it tries to throw you in at the shallow end of the pond a little bit more. I think once I get over maybe 10 or 15 battles in this thing, I'll start getting tier 8s a lot more often, which will suck, to be brutally honest. But like I said, not the worst matchmaking you could get. The enemy team has a 12244, which is just a brutal tank to face with a Fury Sherman. They also have an IS and a M12. Our team, we've got a Black Prince, who I believe is AFK. We've got a T20, and we've got an M12. So right away, I'm going to try and play the role of kind of a sneaky mid laner kind of guy here. Try and take advantage of my binos for view range, my gun depression to shoot over hills. Just kind of play sort of flanky supporter guy. That's my idea anyway. So we're not getting a lot of luck where we are. I try to push up far enough to get a shot at that KV-85 in the side, but he doesn't move up far enough, and I get spotted. So I decide I'm going to bail on out of there. I don't want to get schwacked by that M12 or by that Tier 5 French Premium Artillery, the LEFH. That would suck. So we're going to roll on out of there. I'm not sure how I got spotted right there, but I just did. That was a little bit weird. So we're going to try and poke up onto this hill here and see what we can do. can see the good gun depression on the Fury. You know, we're not really taking full advantage of it, to be real honest, but it's definitely there. Trying to get a beat on this Hellcat. Can't quite get a beat on him. I'd like to move forward more and see if I can shoot this cluster in the side, but I don't know what's covering them. I decided to just kind of go for it. And I managed to catch some shots on this IS. Hit him in the commander's hatch, but not square on, and it bounces. And then we just clip the back of his turret and bounce off again. So that was unfortunate. Again, I'm trying to draw a beat on either that Su-85 or the Hellcat, but we're not getting anything. So I decided to drop into this cover right here. And at that point, we encounter this nice little AMX-12T. And once he starts firing at me, I turn front towards him. The 12T has really awful pen, so with my front towards him and a little bit of angling, I'm actually able to get him to put one into my tracks. Tried to get him to bounce another one. Hellcat actually manages to bounce a Prem shell off me. Just real quick, I want to see where that one hit. Okay, we can see it hit right there on top of the driver's hatch. He didn't hit me at a square-on angle. If he'd hit me at a real angle and not at a clipping shot, that would have penned. That Hellcat with Prem ammo has got about 250 pen. But the Hellcat, not taking the time to aim his shots, poking with no HP against a full health, high DPM medium, is killed. But unfortunately for us, the battle goes very poorly. It's 7 against 9, and our Black Prince is pretty much the only hope we have in this, and he's only just woken up a few minutes ago. And not to draw attention to it too much, but he's a pretty inexperienced player in a tank that's can be difficult to love, to say the least. So I don't really expect him to come out on top. Now, unfortunately, this Chi Nu really was not expecting him right there. He also gets my ammo rack, so I'm kind of caught with my pants down here a little bit. And, man, that just sucked. And that Chi Nu puts me down, which was pretty unfortunate. I was not pleased to discover him where he was. I really was hoping I could get some uninterrupted in the back fire on that IS, but the Chi Nu was giving him good support. He saw me, put 2 into me, blew up my ammo rack, and also the IS, he shot me in the turret just on the right here. He shot me in the turret like right there, firing up, and penned and did 420 damage. So that was really unfortunate. I lost half my HP to a shot that was basically a clipping shot. I guess he must have maybe he overmatched or something, because I feel like firing upward at that the way he hit, it shouldn't have gone in, but it did, and I lost 420 health. So them's the breaks. You know, what can you do? Real quick look at post-battle results. The Fury replays are not uploading properly. They don't work on Quickie Baby replays at all, because you know, that's a privately run website. It's got to be updated manually. So this replay for some reason wouldn't upload on Wargaming's official replay site, watreplays.com. So I just had to go with a screenshot here. We didn't do a lot. We did 764 damage, 484 experience. Not awful considering, pretty serious defeat, and we didn't do a whole lot in that battle, but we did take out almost all of this ELC, and we about 200 damage to this Hellcat, plus 1 into the Chi Nu. Not a terrific battle, but definitely not as bad as it could have been. Sort of a case of just we needed to get more out of everybody on our team in order to win that one, and a little tiny bit of unfortunate result against that IS, but oh well, what can you do sometimes, you know, an IS is like the perfect tank to just slaughter one of these things. So that was that. We still made pretty decent profit on that. I'm gonna guess I made about 17,000 profit. So again, not too bad. Right. So that's all. That's all that for replays. You know, kind of sum up the Fury Sherman real quick. If you like to collect tanks and you just like things for the novelty, definitely get the Fury. It's an interesting little tank. You know, it's a cool looking tank model to have. It'll give you a little bit of crew training for American mediums. It'll give you a little bit of extra money making in Tier 6. I wouldn't use it in Tier 6 companies. It's not fast enough. I wouldn't use it in strongholds. It's not fast enough, and its guns kind of a little bit on the mass side. But in random battles, it's okay. You know, you can do well in it. If you want to buy it because it's a good premium tank, I would advise you to save your money and not buy it. Because it's nothing special. It's a slightly worse M4 EZ8, which in my opinion is a slightly worse Cromwell. So, I mean, should you buy it? I bought it because I wanted to collect it and I wanted the novelty. I also bought it because the $30 package gave me a 100% crew, which I thought was pretty worth it. And it gave me 2,600 gold. And since I was going to buy 2,500 gold anyway, and I was going to buy the Fury tank, getting them rolled into one was essentially a 2 for the price of 1 deal. So, you know, if you think it's valuable, I wouldn't say that the Fury is a good tank to buy if you want a Prem tank to go like clean people up. If you want a Prem tank to play occasionally for the fun and the novelty and to have a nice collector tank, definitely look at it though. I know that's not really the most helpful advice ever out there, but I hope you guys got something worthwhile out of this video. I definitely had fun playing the Fury Sherman, and go see the movie. Good movie. Fury was worth watching. Movie was really, really good. Crucify me now for saying it, but I actually liked Shia LaBeouf in this movie, and nobody likes Shia LaBeouf in any movie, but in Fury, Shia LaBeouf is actually pretty funny. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Fury Sherman. If you haven't seen the movie, I hope you go see it, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have seen the movie, heck yeah, it was sweet. And until next time, guys, just remember, Captain Dorja here. This is Captain Dorja's Armory, and you can never have enough big guns.